our show. Let's take a look at who's in my green room for you this evening. Now, if I were to ask you to name the greatest living Welshman, you'd know who I was talking about. Sir Tom Jones. Well, he isn't here this evening, but we do have someone who can do a cracking impression of him. It's the multi-talented Rob Brydon, ladies and gentlemen. If I would ask you for your favourite werewolf of all time, that's a perfectly legitimate question. Some might say Lon Chaney Jr., that would be the old blokes. Some would say Oliver Reed, that would be middle-aged viewers. But for the younger generation, there's no doubt in the answer. It is Mr. Taylor Lautner. Oh, looking great. Very, very handsome. A bit too handsome, I'll be honest. My next guest says it best when he says nothing at all. Although I hope that's not the case tonight, it's going to be a really dull interview. He's also my sixth favourite werewolf of all time. It's Ronan Keating! There he is. He's not really a werewolf, I don't think. I love Ronan. And I'm very, very, very excited about my next guest, because she went from being an outsider to the #1 British women's tennis player virtually overnight. Last month, she reached the semi-finals of the Australian Open. She was the first British woman to do so in 32 years. That's an incredible achievement. She's an incredible athlete. It is Johanna Konta. Hey, Johanna. How lovely to have you here. Thank you for coming. And we have some fantastic music for you tonight as well. It's Lucas Graham. There they are. Lucas Graham will be performing their #1 single, 7 years later on the show. Hello. That's famous for hello. Now, before we do that, I have an announcement of great importance for you. The internet has a new grumpy cat. Someone actually gasped then. You are the most obliging and tragic audience member we've ever had. The cat's name is Albert. And he's just been fitted with a cone at the vets, as you can see. I think it's the same cone that Simon Cowell wears to stop him licking himself. But look at that expression. It's like Kanye West looking at his bank statement. Look at that. Now, there have been more reports this week that Daniel Craig may be quitting the role of James Bond, OK? I hope it's not true, but if it does happen, there's no question who should be his replacement, I think anyway. It has to be this man. Now, stay with me. Because his name is Simon Chaplin, he's 62, and when police recently tried to stop him for speeding, it led to a 5-mile car chase, during which Simon tried to escape in a unique way. He triggered a smokescreen device on his Peugeot 309. He actually has fitted that on himself. I think he only got caught because he got exhausted. Unfortunately for Simon, of course, he got 6 points on his licence. His licence to kill. So Simon is from Carmarthen in Wales. Let me ask Rob, of course, you're our token Welsh guest this evening. How would a Welsh Bond... Because we had... Sean Connery, of course, didn't lose the Scottish burr when he was speaking as Bond. No. How would a Welsh Bond do Could you do a bit of Welsh 007 for us?
Well, the thing is, Money Penny... I'm not going to lie to you, I've had a hell of a day.
Let's get my first guest out, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? I love interviewing him. He always makes me laugh. He's a brilliant comedian, the multi-talented star of Would I Lie to You, The Trip, and Gavin and Stacey. The always funny Mr. Rob Brydon. Rob Brydon. How lovely to have you on the show.
It's lovely to be here.
It's great to have you back. So, congratulations, first of all. I've got to say congratulations on the shows you've made with Steve Coogan, The Trip.
Thank you very much.
How many people... Have you seen The Trip, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, it hasn't reached a big audience yet, but it's... For those that have, adore it, of course. For those who might not have seen it, how would you describe it? Because it's quite an unusual premise, isn't it?
Well, we sort of play versions of ourselves, and the idea is that we've been asked to review restaurants. So in the first one, we did it in the Lake District, and that one is in Italy. And it's improvised. We make up a lot of the stuff in it. Directed by Michael Winterbottom, he gives us a rough outline, and then we sort of colour it in.
Because what channel is it?
It was on BBC Two, but now it's coming back to Sky Atlantic.
It's going to Sky Atlantic,
Yeah.
so it's not necessarily going to get the biggest audience.
Oh, no, 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 no. I mean, it's very much for a select audience. We demand a lot of our viewers.
Yeah.
You can't... You know, the lovely thing about this show... The lovely thing about this show is you can watch it while you're doing something else. And I always say, and I'd say it to his face, it's better to watch it while you're doing something else. You know, you could be doing the ironing, you could be putting out the recycling, but you know it's on.
Yeah.
In the background.
It's comforting.
It's bubbling away. Oh, Jonathan's still alive. We're happy.
OK. You and Steve are fairly close, I guess. I mean, you're reasonably close.
To be honest, I struggle to answer that because I love the guy. I feel close to him. I don't see that much of him, to be honest. I mean, you know him. He's an enigma. He's a riddle wrapped up in a puzzle.
He's damaged.
He's damaged. Yeah. So I don't see much. But when we do, we certainly have a chemistry and we kind of slot together well, you know.
And I guess what's good is you have a similar sense of humour and you can both do very accurate impersonations.
Yeah, the impressions are funny because I know that he was for a long time very resistant. He hated it because I started out doing impressions and he did too. And I think neither of us value them. I think both of us see them. I'm a little less resistant than he is, you know. I'm more of a people pleaser than he is. I mean, he's far from a people pleaser. But I don't mind doing it. He hates doing them, and I'm getting closer to that now. I must admit, I do bristle when someone describes me as an impressionist.
But, you know, because you're not an impressionist, that's why
I do a handful, John. That's all I can do is I do about 5.
Yeah, but you do them very well.
Yeah, but just, you know, beat them to death.
Yeah, which one do you think you're best at?
I like doing Alan Bennett. As he gets older, as with so many people, some of the mobility around the mouth begins to go. You notice that with everyone like McCartney, too, you know. A lot of it is not as much as I am in the mouth, you know.
That sounds kind of like McCartney when drunk as well.
People do, as they get older. I mean, you've still got that remarkable sound. You've not aged at all.
That's not any good at all. You see, that one, no one knew what you were doing.
No one knew what you were doing. What a cork of a show we have for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't know.
Oh, the one that I love, because I love the man, is... I'll never forget the day. I'm doing Ronnie Corbett.
So let's have a look at a clip of the trip, and you'll see that they're both very good impersonations, but they're both very different, and you guys have observed different things. I think it's just so skillful. Have a look at this. This is the trip.
I was wondering whether you'd actually booked the Mini in Italy, the Italian job, just to give you the opportunity to say...
You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off.
But I've done it now, so hopefully that'll be an end to it.
Do you, Michael Caine? Did you see him in The Dark Knight Rises?
And his voice gets even more emotional than it's ever done in the past before. I don't want to bury you, Batman. I will not. Put you into the ground in a little box. I will not do it, Master Bruce. I will not do it. I'm not going to bury another Batman.
Another Batman? How many Batmans has he been burying? How many are there?
I've buried 14 Batman.
I've buried 14 Batman.
With their little pointy ears in the box.
I'm not going to bury another nylon cloak with pointy ears that people wear at birthday parties.
With a little belt, a very wide belt that is flattering to a man with an expanded girth. I won't do that to you, Master Bruce. I will not do it to you.
And I won't make the voice like that.
The voice can't even go like that. He's basically yodeling.
There you go. It's a masterclass.
It all started from a thing I used to do in my stand-up, where I talked about how voices change. His in particular. In the younger days, he would go, you're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off, and it was all like that. Yeah. But over the years, the voice has slowly changed. And it's got right to the back of the throat. Much, much slower than it used to be, and you could barely make out the voice.
Michael Caine, Sir Michael Caine.
Sir Michael, you're quite right.
OK, so now you have 5 children?
Yes.
5 children, OK. And I've noticed that sometimes in your career you have played the embarrassing dad.
Yes.
Of course, in real life, is there something in that? I guess all parents, to an extent, can be embarrassing for their children.
I don't know. I have a kind of really lovely relationship with my children. If anything, they try to embarrass me. My 7-year-old, if we're out in the shops and stuff, he delights in pointing out that I'm there, you know. He comes up to me and he goes, "Shall I shout Rob Brydon?" And he looks at me like this. And I go, no, let's not do that now. You know, so it's if anything, it's the other way around. They want to embarrass me.
So he likes making you uncomfortable?
Yeah, he finds it hilarious, yeah.
And you've had 5. I'm hoping that's enough for you?
Oh, Jonathan, there will be no more. I mean, mine go from 21, 19... I've got to get this right.
Wow.
21, 19, 16, 7 and 4.
Wow. That's a...
When I was growing up, I was always a big Rod Stewart fan.
Yeah.
But I think I've taken it a bit far.
OK, let's talk about your voiceover work. Early in your career,
yeah,
when you were the go-to guy,
yes,
for voiceovers, not because you were Rob Brydon, because you weren't known.
No, I
at that
was totally
stage.
unknown, but that was how I earned my living. I would be in Soho, and I would do 5 or 6 voiceovers a day, going from one studio to another, and I would voice anything.
Yeah.
Whereas now, obviously, people know my voice, so I don't really want to do that, perhaps. But
so what were the products you did back then that you maybe would consider not saying yes to now?
I did one for a video that you would be sent if you were going into hospital to have a colonoscopy.
Wow. OK, so that's...
It's a colonoscopy where they take a camera and a long tube and they put it in through...
Well, all men of a certain age have probably either had that or should have had that. Have you had that done to you?
Well, I'm a lot younger than you, so it's not as pressing an issue for me, Jonathan. I mean, when you first had it done, they were wooden, weren't they, I remember? So if you were going in to have this colonoscopy, you would put on a DVD the night before, or maybe a VHS, it may have been that long ago, and it would be my voice saying, "The procedure you're about to undergo is very normal. It's nothing to worry about." And there was one line that says something like, "The doctor will then insert the probe into your rectum. You may pass wind at this point. It's perfectly normal." So those must still exist somewhere. I don't know.
Let me ask you about the Painkiller then, because you're back on stage, and this must be exciting for you because you're co-starring with Sir Kenneth Branagh.
Yes. The story is there are 2 adjoining hotel rooms on the stage. One of them overlooks a courthouse, and there's a trial taking place. The star witness is arriving that day. Ken plays this cool assassin, a hitman. He's coming to shoot the witness. I'm a depressed Welsh photographer whose wife has just left him. There's a theme developing. And I've come to take photos. Yeah. And we get tangled up in each other. We end up in our underpants. People fall out of windows. I get soaking wet. There's a gun in it. It's a very, very funny play.
OK, so that's the Painkiller. It's at the Garrick Theatre here in London from the 5th of March.
Will you be coming to visit? Because there are ramps.
Yes, I will.
I mean, there's
why did you change the way you spoke to me? Will you be I'm 90?
No, I know that...
Are you warm enough? I'm only 5 years older than you.
Jonathan, I am just thinking about...
Have you had something to eat? If you break wind, it's perfectly normal.
I'll tell you what, have you had something to eat? This is the first time I've ever had to ask you that. Well, listen, if you are coming, I just wanted to reassure you there are ramps, there are not a lot of steps. We can get you an aisle seat if you want.
I do like an aisle seat.
Of course you do.
Because I've seen you act before, and it's easier to sneak out from an aisle, because otherwise it's embarrassing.
Oh, that's hurtful.
You know that's not entirely true.
There's a limited amount of truth in that.
So, when you're in... I've seen you with comedians, and you're such a natural fit, because you're a comedian, essentially. Do you find yourself... Do you act differently around actors? Because they are different, aren't they?
Well, because I've done a few more things now, I tend to run into... The other day, I was at an awards do, and Sir Tom Courtenay...
Wow.
...was there. Now, I've met Tom once or twice, maybe, to say hello to at things, but I was with a group, and he was coming over, and I sort of waved, you know, like that, and he came up, and straight away, he leant into me, very, you know, affectionately. He leant in, but quite so like that, and I thought, oh, I'll kiss him. But I wasn't entirely sure that he wanted a kiss. So I gave him a very tentative, you might say sensual kiss. Yeah. I went... On his cheek. And then he, while staying there, turned to my cheek and, brushing it ever so lightly, went... like that, right? And then we separated, and the conversation, my wife was there, we were all chatting away, but it was niggling at me. Had he meant to kiss me? So about 10 minutes later, I said, Tom, sorry, I said, can I ask, did you mean to kiss me then? And he went, no. He said, but you kissed me, so I thought, well, I'll kiss you back. He said it was very nice. He was just leaning in to hear what I had to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you agree. He's a splendid guest to spend some time with. Mr. Rob Brydon. Thank you. And we're going to stick around. Still to come on the show, we'll be joined by the fabulous Johanna Conta, Ronan Keating and young Mr. Taylor Lautner. Don't go away. Welcome back to the show. Let's get my next guest out. He was the star of one of the biggest film franchises in cinema history, the Twilight Saga, of course, and he's back on our screens here in a new series of the wonderful sitcom Cuckoo. It is Mr. Taylor Lautner, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for showing out the way. Here's young Rob. Taylor, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
You're looking good. You're looking very good, young man.
Thank you.
OK, so let's get Twilight out of the way early, because that's the big thing that kind of launched you on the world stage.
Right.
And you were, was it 15 when you first started making this movie?
Yeah, I think I was 15 when I auditioned and filmed the first one at 16.
Wow. So that's a remarkable thing to happen to a person of that age.
Right.
They're the years that most of us struggle with somewhat, you know, the difficult teenage years.
Right.
I don't know, Rob, I mean, you probably found it harder than most. And then there you were, the centre of global attention and being screamed at when you went out, which I guess in some ways must have been wonderful, in other ways must have been weird and strange.
Yeah, it's true. Well, this one time we were in Brazil, and we had 3,000 girls waiting outside the hotel, and over 2 or 3 days, they were just chanting our names throughout the whole day, and eventually they got to the front doors of the hotel, and they locked all the doors, and they literally broke down the doors, got past hotel security, and made their way up to our floor. 3,000 girls. Wow. So they locked us in our rooms and said, you have to stay in your rooms for 45 minutes till the Brazilian National Guard gets here to get the 3,000 girls out of the hotel. Wow. So those 45 minutes were, like, terrifying.
Well,
this is ringing a lot of bells with me, because I remember being at a Radisson Blu in Cardiff once. And I was sitting, they have a lovely sort of eating area there, a lot of glass, and there was a woman banging furiously, banging on the window and pointing at me and banging. And it turned out I'd left a shop without paying, so I had to...
you see, already
it's a similar thing, Taylor. It's just the numbers are different.
Right. OK. So Cuckoo, tell me about Cuckoo. This is the third series of Cuckoo.
Yeah.
And how was it for you coming up and working on a British TV show? Because it must be a very different experience from the huge scale of a big American movie set to come working over here.
Yeah, it's very different. It's the first television I've really done. But it's so, like, intimate, and it's, you know, it's like a smaller crew, small cast, so it's sort of like a family environment. Yeah. I had to adjust to the, you know, kind of comedy here. It's a little more sarcastic, a little dry.
It's Greg Davis, isn't it? Greg's one of the funniest people in the world. He's fantastic.
And the storyline, you play a slightly naive character, don't you?
Very naive.
Yeah. And is that fun to play that kind of guy?
It's the most fun. Yeah, because if I'm actually not understanding anything, it works. So it's perfect.
So it's just a bit easier than you might have thought.
Yeah.
OK, it's almost like method acting, in fact.
Yeah, absolutely.
OK, let's have a clip. This is a clip for Cuckoo. The third series has just started. This is from Tuesday's episode.
Correct.
Cuckoo.
What if we hand Dale into the police and he takes the rap for everything?
Wow! That's a great idea. I knew there was a way out, you brainy box. Good job, buddy. I'll just go to jail. How long will I be there?
5, 10 years?
I'll be out before you can say lickety-split.
Dale, you do not want to go to jail. You know what happens to athletic young men in jail?
Are they made to do gymnastics? Because I love gymnastics.
So it's sorted then, right? So, Dale, when you give yourself up, make sure that you say you take absolutely all the blame for everything, okay?
No, stop. Okay, there has to be another way.
Dale is fine with it, okay? Now, I'm just going to make a little call. Rachel, I know it's hard, but you will thank me when Dale is in jail and we are not in jail. Okay.
Quick, stop it.
There you go. That's Cuckoo. You can watch it online Tuesdays on BBC Three, and then it's repeated on BBC One on Monday nights. So now, if you had to pick up on some of the kind of idiomatic words that we use over here, some of the English sayings,
boy.
which words? Because over there you have, in America, we're used to people, they say things, you know, we kind of laugh at something like "have a good day" and
Right.
"dude" gets used all the time.
You don't say "have a good day"?
Well, not unless you really genuinely want someone to have a good day. You know, over there, it's like saying goodbye almost, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of.
Yeah.
So yours that I'm still struggling with are, so I'm not sure what cheeky means.
Cheeky.
I just hear it used so much and in so many different ways, like I can't identify the real meaning of it.
So you would like to know when it is appropriate to use the word...
I don't even know if it's a good or a bad thing.
Well, normally it's a good thing.
Yeah?
Normally, don't you think, Rob?
Yeah. I mean, you might describe Jonathan as cheeky.
Okay.
It's a warm... Oh, he's cheeky.
Or you could say that cheeky monkey. He's a
Yeah.
cheeky monkey.
Cheeky monkey.
He's a little cheeky monkey.
Okay.
Little cheeky
I'm just more confused than when we
But you
started.
you can also have a cheeky pint or a cheeky Nando's.
They're showing cheek, of course. We showed a lot of cheek. Now, that could be two ways, Jonathan, couldn't it? It could be...
Why are you showing so much cheek? Pull your shorts down, because
Yeah.
the cheek is...
Okay.
The
All right.
bottom cheeks. I mean, it's an absolute minefield for Taylor.
Yeah. And then the other one is, I just, cheers.
Cheers.
I misuse it sometimes.
Cheers.
Well, so when would you use it?
Well, I don't know. Sometimes, apparently it's not goodbye. Because I've walked out of rooms and been like, cheers! And people have been like, no, you can't use it that way.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I get the drink cheers. Like, we...
Cheers?
Yeah.
A salut, cheers, yeah.
It's hello, right?
No, it's not a hello. Imagine this. Cheers.
Cheers. Yeah, so it's not hello.
It's not hello, Taylor. It's not hello. When you are being given praise, which for you is going to be a daily occurrence, someone says, hey, I loved you in that thing you did. Oh, cheers.
That's the best use of it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a thank you.
It's a polite,
right,
it's a
right.
friendly, casual thank you.
Okay.
It's a nice one to use there.
You can
Right.
also say cheers, big ears.
Cheers,
Or cheers, my dears.
Cheers, my dears.
Cheers, isn't that right?
Yes, yes. And if you're ever with a member of the clergy, a vicar or a priest, it's a cheers, shitface.
Yeah. Well, that's the highest compliment you can play.
Right.
Or not just the clergy, or a policeman.
Okay. Good to know.
OK, so Cuckoo is a big thing, but I guess you've done other stuff. What was the film I saw you in? Tracers?
Yeah.
OK,
Tracers.
now that was a fun film, very action-packed.
Very
Did you do a lot of your own stuff in that?
Yeah, the crazy thing, yeah, I was able to do all of the stunts in it. I don't know how they let me do them because there was at least 3 or 4 stunts. If I didn't do correctly, I would have died.
And this is parkour you're doing here,
Yeah,
isn't it? It's that kind of
parkour.
free running.
Yeah, so we're literally running, jumping off buildings, you know, on top of semi-trucks, onto cars, and just like crazy stuff.
And you can do is it a somersault or a backflip you're capable of doing?
Yeah, so I started extreme martial arts when I was 6 years old, and it basically is the marriage of, you know, traditional karate, acrobatic gymnastics.
Were you doing kendo as well? I've seen you with a stick, but that wasn't kendo you were doing. It was something else with the stick.
Yeah, my weapon that I did is the bow staff.
The bow staff?
Yep, so...
You were incredible, though. We've got a clip of you with
No
the bow
way.
staff, and I think you're about 12 or something, maybe? Or
Probably.
even younger. And would you like to see it? Well,
I'd love to
OK,
see
let's have a look
it.
at this.
I'd love to.
But, man, you were an intense young man.
I was very intense. Yeah, I'm terrified at what this is going to be.
Were you imagining, when you used to do that, when you shot, were you imagining smashing someone, attacking someone? Was
Yeah,
there a lot of-
every little, like, bully at school that I didn't like, just...
Wow.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
it's going to look
Well,
like.
that's sweet. OK, so this is young Taylor. I'll try and find out how old he was exactly, but he's practising or displaying some of his very impressive martial arts skills. Look at this. Did you ever, but presumably that was all for display, you never got to use that in real life, or did you ever use that
I use
against
that
bullies?
on a daily basis in back alleys, yeah.
Wow, fighting crime.
Yeah.
And how high did you get in your martial arts studies? What kind of level did you achieve?
So I became a black belt at the age of 10. Wow. And then when I stopped doing it at 14, I was a 4-time world champion.
Ooh, wow. Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. What an achievement. Wow. And do you still bust out the bow staff ever?
The flips are easier to bust out because you don't need a...
Would you do a flip for us?
There's a 50-50 chance that my suit splits, but as long as you're okay with me continuing with a split suit.
I think I speak for the audience and Rob when I say we prefer it if the suit's split.
Can I just say, if at any point you want me to do some star jumps, I am ready.
But can I... What was a star jump?
Star jump? OK, watch closely. So you get a nice kind of solid base,
Let's
Taylor.
have that music, that martial arts music.
Okay. Are you ready? I'm ready.
What's Sensei?
Thank you.
So, Taylor, I know that's a tough...
That's a tough one to follow, right?
Could you do... And I don't want you to hurt yourself in any way.
I won't hurt myself, but I'm serious. I think this suit's going to split.
Oh, well, that's fine. OK, let's take this off. Let me take this off.
Where should I do this? Right here?
You can do it in the star jump area.
Where did you do it? Well, how much space do you need?
I'll just do a standing one. I'll just right here.
Wow.
I'm going to basically land where I started.
OK. Just in case anything happens, cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers, Taylor.
Cheers, guys. It was nice knowing you.
OK. If you're ready.
Yep.
Whoa! No split. Almost, but not quite. Cheers. 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 Cheers, buddy.
That was impressive.
Wow. Taylor, what a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much for being here. Mr. Taylor Lautner, ladies and gentlemen. It was great fun. Thank you, man. You were great. The guys are sticking around, but coming up will be John One, including and Johanna Konta. See you after the break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get my next guest out here. She's the new star of British women's tennis. Before she comes and joins us, let's have a look at her in action.
Yeah.
Oh, well played.
Absolutely beautiful.
Before this tournament began, very few back home had heard the name of Jo Konta. Now, she's going to be a household name. Great congratulations. What a moment for British tennis.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the fabulous Johanna Konta.
Thank you.
You ready for your back flip?
Yeah, oh yeah, I believe you. Yeah, I've been leaning for the slow one.
Yeah, Hannah, thank you for coming on. Great to have you on. So congratulations, first of all. I guess it would be fair to say the Australian Open, your success there, that has changed your life pretty dramatically, hasn't it?
Well, being here has changed my life more than anything. So thank you for having me.
In a good way, we hope.
In a very positive way.
OK, well, it's great to have you here. I'm a big tennis fan, but I was so amazed at your performance because here you are in a Grand Slam, knowing the eyes of the world are upon you, and you have to work your way up through some of the toughest players in tennis to beat Venus Williams to get you where you are. That must have been quite something.
I'd played her once before. In China the previous year, and we had a really tough match. So I felt confident with being able to go out there and compete at a good level. I was more really that's really what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
We were playing on Rod Laver Arena, which is the centre court in Australia, so it's the biggest court there, and I was just kind of hoping that people weren't going to be bored, really.
Yeah.
And yeah, I managed to stay very present and just competed to the best of my ability, and yeah, I managed to come through that.
So did you speak to Venus afterwards? Because she seemed to not want... I mean, she seemed to be unsettled by being beaten by. She refused to attend the press conference afterwards, and she got fined as a result, didn't she?
I heard that, but I also heard that was not the first time she did that, so I don't think it was personal.
No, I'm not saying it's personal, but it seems a little unsporting.
I mean, you never know what kind of state of mind you're going to be in after any match. I think, you know, it could be more at play than just losing.
Well, that's very generous of you.
Well, she's a really good person, and she's a great competitor, so I'd be foolish to say anything bad.
When you were out there playing, when you were in Australia playing, were you aware that there was a growing excitement here, the fact that we had a British player moving up through the ranks and doing as well as you were in that Grand Slam?
I was actually quite far removed from it. It did help that I was halfway around the world, and there is an 11-hour time difference. But my parents had a bit of a hard time. They had the doorbell ringing with journalists every 2 hours, and so they kind of closed the curtains, turned all the lights off, and just pretended they weren't home. So it was definitely different here.
That must be a weird thing, because you forget about the impact it has on your family. I mean, I guess, Taylor, for you, when your career went nuts, I guess you had to deal with your parents having to deal with fans coming to see them.
Yeah.
3,000 girls?
Yeah, right. Just breaking into the house.
Yeah.
No, they kept me in check. They made sure I had to do extra taking out the trash and mowing the lawn when.
So your parents grounded you while the other way around.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I noticed, I've looked at you playing, and I noticed there's a lot of aggression, or a lot more aggression in women's tennis than perhaps there used to be, I think. I mean, you see those, like, really big, slogging kind of ground-stroke battles going on.
Yes.
Which didn't used to be a character of the game quite as much. I mean, you're really, you know, in the...
That's actually my resting face.
Yeah. Do you think that is partly because of the dominance the Williams sisters have had on the game, the fact that you have to be ready to go out there and really slug it out with them?
They definitely changed the game in a big way, physically, and they really brought athleticism into the game. And it's not just that, but it's a long season, so it's about staying healthy, it's about competing week in, week out, and also day in, day out on the normal tour.
Hey, you could have played for Australia.
Yes.
I guess you could have played for Hungary, because you have Australian passport, you have a Hungarian passport,
yes,
and a British passport. And this is because
yes,
your parents are Hungarian originally, and then you were born in Australia?
I was.
OK. But you chose to be British.
I did.
For that, we thank you.
No, thank you.
Now, but I believe when the Australians found out you could have been Australian, didn't some journalists kind of try and persuade you to change your mind and...
I had it in every single press conference, actually. They kept on asking, so, you know, will you come back and play for Australia? I was like, no, sorry, next day. So, will you come back and play for Australia? No, still no. And, yeah, no, that just kept going.
But I guess essentially, you feel more British, then you identify more...
This is my home. I spent my formative years here. This is where I've made the strongest memories. This is where I became a young adult. So, yeah, I couldn't imagine playing for anyone else. Oh, wow.
There you are, first starting out. Do you play tennis, Rob?
I play, yeah, I do play. I don't play to a level of a human being. I mean, I play...
Is it on par with your star jumps?
I play... Cheers. I love tennis, and here's what I think is the great thing about tennis, is that as long as you are playing somebody that is at your level, right, it doesn't matter how bad you are. Yeah. If I play Jonathan, fine. But if I was to play you, obviously, you know, but I think that's the great thing about the sport. Find somebody as bad as you are. Yeah.
But actually, we have a bit of a... I don't know if it's a saying, but we like to think that when you're playing a higher-ranked player or you're playing in a certain stage, you raise your level.
Yes. You're in a different area to me, love.
OK.
Yeah, it's not the same. If I went and played you, it would be of no benefit to me whatsoever.
Taylor, have you played tennis?
I have. I'm pretty awful.
Here we go. I was the junior Wisconsin champion.
When he was 7.
We just happen to have a clip of you now, Taylor. This is you winning the US Open when you were 6 years old.
You see, you always have to spoil it, don't you, Rob?
You do sound quite bitter.
I am bitter. Well, of course I'm bitter. I've been brought on with 2 sporting titans. Get Ronan Keating out here and give me a chance.
Now, we had Taylor on the show, of course, and we were talking about his enormous success in the Twilight series. You were a Twilight fan.
I was one of those 3,000 girls. No, I wasn't.
But were you into the movies?
I was really into the books. I was one of those 17, 18-year-olds who kind of locked herself away in the room for a week and just literally read all of them. You know, I looked like I hadn't washed my hair and my eyes were like I didn't sleep. I literally woke up in the middle of the night. I need to know what happens. That did happen.
But she didn't see the movies.
But no, I did actually.
Okay.
I did. No, I really did. I saw all 4 of them too.
And you liked the
4 or
show?
5. I saw that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes,
you
I
only
did
saw
see all
4.
5. Shit.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Now, here's the thing I thought you might be able to help me out with here, Hannah. Taylor, when you were on the Twilight set, I believe that there were many long hours and you'd be bored occasionally. Yeah. And there was something you used to do with Kristen.
Yep.
That would pass the hours.
This is PG-13, right?
And I thought you might want to show us that with Johanna.
Yeah, we could give it a shot, for sure.
Okay.
Me and my co-star Kristen used to pass time by her throwing grapes into my mouth.
Oh, I did hear about this.
Yeah.
But from some distance.
Yeah, and we would escalate. It started...
Am I hitting a tennis ball in your mouth
now?
now?
I thought, no.
Is that how it translates to me?
But no,
Where do I come in then?
We thought you might be able to underhand lob some grapes into his mouth.
Doesn't that fall through the strings?
No, I think they're...
No, have you played tennis? Look, how small are the grapes in your house? So, look, would you go over there for me? Okay.
Are you doing this?
No, you're going to lob them. You can lob them.
Okay.
I'll feed them to you.
Don't move. Don't move.
Okay, right.
Oh, shit. Oh.
Okay, never mind. Here.
Oh, my God.
Whoa. That was close. Okay, you don't have to run off the platform.
Okay.
He loves a grape. He couldn't get... No, he was over there. You really like grapes, don't you?
I'm so excited. I feel like a dog right now.
Ready?
Yeah, ready? Okay, we got it.
That's really good. I think Taylor and Johanna deserve a round of applause for that fabulous display. Join me and say thank you to the fabulous Johanna Konta. Thank you. That was wonderful. You were great and so good luck, you know. I'm rooting for you. Still to come on the show, we'll be joined by Ronan Keating, and we've got that music from Lucas Graham I was telling you about. See you after the break. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get my final guest up. Incredibly, get this, he has been a pop star for over 20 years, and yet he still manages to look younger than anyone in One Direction. It is the ever-youthful Ronan Keating. Ronan, cheers.
Sorry about the wait.
Cheers, man. Cheers. Cheers. Cheers.
How you doing? Good to see you.
So, Ronan's on the show not just because he's a splendid fellow, but he's got an album which is already out right now, Ronan Keating, Time of My Life. Congratulations on this, it's a great sound. It seems to me it's different to your early stuff. It's a bit of a departure for you.
Yeah, very much.
What have you done differently this time?
I guess I took a year to make it, which was a big departure for me.
So normally, how long did the old ones take? Like a week?
2-3 months.
Oh, OK.
I mean, actually, one album we made in a week.
I knew you'd made one in a short period of time.
Yeah, which was the Brother album of Boyzone, and after Steo passed, we had a very small window of time. We made the album in a week before Christmas. It was unbelievable. Yeah. Ridiculous, but we did it.
And now this seems to be, it's more personal than
very much. Stuff. I spent 4 months in a show called Once in the West End, a musical, which I never thought I'd do, a musical, but very special show. And I did 145 shows, 8 shows a week, and I'm playing guitar, singing, acting every night. And it just changed my whole view on what I did. The amount of people that said to me after most nights, Jesus, man, you can sing. Yeah. And I thought, what the hell have you been listening to for the last 20 years? I thought, yeah, so like, it really made me think about what I was doing and how I was doing it in the past.
And that must have been a different audience coming to see you there than you got with Boyzone.
Yeah, there was a bit of both. A lot of it was theatre goers, but there was a few moments that were a bit awkward.
And so when you say awkward, what, they would request a Boyzone track?
Yeah, similar. There was one night, it was in my first week on the show, and it was a really important moment in the show, a very emotional bit. I'm talking about my late mother in the show. And it was silence, and this guy stands up and goes, "Ladies and gentlemen..."
Hurry, a guy in the audience stood up.
He stood up and he shouts out, "Ladies and gentlemen, Ronan Keating. He's not just a great singer, he's a great actor too. Put your hands together."
Wow.
And
this was in the middle of the show?
In the middle of the show.
No, not the intermission?
No, it was incredibly awkward. I didn't know what to do. So I just went quiet. Luckily, my co-star, Jill, was amazing, and she straight into it, next line, we rolled on. But it was one of those moments.
Did you try and stop and say, no, this is for me?
Yeah, you let him talk, yeah. That was really unnerving.
You must have had more than your fair share. I know that isn't a heckle in the purest form, but you must have dealt with it.
When I was starting out, about 20 years ago, I was on the circuit doing the comedy clubs, and I had a very weak act. I mean, even weaker than it is now. And I got up and I was doing this whimsical stuff about, you know, being from Wales, and somebody right down there was just silence, you know, they weren't saying anything. And somebody in the front went, bah. I carried on, and then his friend went, bah.
Well, we should explain this.
Yeah.
We should explain this for Taylor.
I'm laughing, but yeah.
But in Wales, they have a lot of sheep.
Okay.
There's a lot of sheep, so quite often if someone is not of that much intelligence and they want to make fun of a Welsh person, they will do a sheep thing. So quite soon it started going around the whole room. So it's bear, 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 bear. And I swear to you, and I'm carrying on with this material just as if it isn't happening.
Yeah.
And by the end, every single bear, it was like a whole flock. I carried on, and it was terrifying. I thought, this is it. I'll have no future in this business. It's awful, it's terrible. But the only good thing is that even now, occasionally, if I'm at an event and I have to say a few words, somebody will go, bear. And now what I say, I've got a line now, and I say, hey, please now, let's... And I'll act as if I'm offended because it's a stereotype. I'll say, no sheep noises, please. And the room will go quiet. Oh, no. It's very hard for me to remember this act with an erection.
Sorry, Ronan. So the new album it features your wife, you got married again. Was it last August?
We got married in August in Scotland,
okay, so congratulations.
Thank you very much, yeah, thank you.
Yes, she is. Her name is Storm, is that
Storm,
right?
yeah.
Wow, that's quite the name. Now, you have 3 children, is that right?
3 kids, yeah.
OK, so when you pop the question to Storm, do you run it past them first, because they were from your previous relationship?
Yeah, I mean, you very much involve them. It's a big deal, because then, you know, Storm's not just marrying me, she's marrying the 4 of us, as such. So it was very special, because the 4 of us asked Storm to marry us, which was amazing. It was a really beautiful moment. And
oh, did what? Independently of each other? No, all at the same time. So you got together and you'd agreed first?
Yeah, we all agreed. We talked, which was a good idea. Yeah, and the 4 of us asked her, which was very special.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
OK, so let's have a look. This is from Ronan's new album. It's Home of My Life, and this is Let Me Love You.
Yeah, let me love you. I've never known a love before. I've never ever felt so sure. Should have told you long before. Now I know what love is for.
It's a really lovely album. Congratulations. Now, I don't know whether you've been in blank, but next year, I looked up next year, at the end of next year, it's the 25th anniversary of Boyzone.
Yeah, 25 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Are you planning anything? Are you going to do any concerts? Are you going to get together, record something new?
I think we'll do something, definitely. It'd be rude not to.
Yeah.
Whether it's a record or some shows. There's talk of collaborations with other bands.
Yeah, there was talk of you and maybe like an Irish boy band supergroup, you and Westlife.
Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea.
So Boys Life might happen.
Yeah. West Zone, I don't know what it's going to be. Who knows?
So you don't know whether you're going to do anything, but I guess you're fairly open to it, because you guys all get on pretty well right now.
Yeah, we do. We get on well, and you know, it'd be very special for us to be able to mark that. 25 years is a long time.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Would you go back to the West End? Would you do a musical again?
I've been asked to do a couple of musicals after once, and I've kind of turned it down. I made a film at the end of last year, which was very exciting, which is coming out later in the year.
Well, that's an area you want to move into, isn't it?
Yeah, very much. I've been trying for years.
Didn't you audition? You auditioned for Moulin Rouge, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah. Back in 2000, 2001.
Okay.
I flew to New York. Baz Luhrmann brought me in. It was very awkward. I was very young, and I had no idea how to act. Because, you know, sometimes when you do this and you're a performer, you just presume you can do everything. And I went to New York, and I sang first. He asked me to sing a song, and I sang. And then he asked me to read a certain part. And it was the scene, if you've seen the movie, where Nicole Kidman is coming on to Ewan McGregor. So she's, like, climbing up his leg, and she's trying to take his trousers off. And Baz's wife is playing Nicole Kidman's.
Wow, that's it's quite awkward.
In the parts. And I'm there, and I've got the script in my hand, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, oh, and it was dreadful. It was shocking, and I was terrible, and obviously I didn't get the part. But it was funny, because I was playing, I was out having a drink with Leonardo DiCaprio a few years ago.
Well, haven't we all?
As you do. Yeah. And because he also read for the movie, believe it or not, and he didn't get it. And I said, man, oh, God, I was so bad. I read for that part, and it was embarrassing. I was so bad. And he said, Ronan, don't worry about it. He said, I sang, and I was fucking terrible. So, yeah, I mean, you know, it happens to all of us. But,
you know, I love having you back on the show, and you seem very happy right now. You seem very sorted.
Very happy.
Well, that's a nice thing.
Oh, thank you very much.
There you go. Ronan's album, it's Time of My Life. Lovely to have you back on the show. Mr. Ronan Keating, ladies and gentlemen. Great story at the end. Thank you. Okay. Thanks to all my guests tonight. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Ronan. Join me again next week. But now, here with their UK #1 single, 7 years, it is Lucas Graham.
Once I was 7 years old, my mama told me, go make yourself some friends or you'll be lonely. Once I was 7 years old. It was a big, big world, but we thought we were bigger, pushing each other to the limits. We were learning quicker. By 11, smoking herb and drinking burning liquor. Never rich, so we were out to make that steady figure. Once I was 11 years old, my daddy told me, go get yourself a wife or you'll be lonely. Once I was 11 years old. You ready, Mr. Lovestick? I only see my goals, I don't believe in failure, cause I know the smallest voices, they can make it major. I got my boys with me, at least those in favor, and if we don't meet before I leave, I hope I'll see you later. Once I was 20 years old, my story got told. I was writing about everything I saw before me. Once I was 20 years old. Soon we'll be 30 years old. Our songs have been sold. We've traveled around the world and we're still roaming. Soon we'll be 30 years old. I'm still learning about life. My woman brought children for me, so I can sing them all my songs and I can tell them stories. Most of my boys are with me, some are still out seeking glory. Some I had to leave behind, my brother, I'm still sorry. Soon I'll be 60 years old. My daddy got 61. Remember life and then your life becomes a better one. I made a man so happy when I wrote a letter once. I hope my children come and visit once or twice a month. Soon I'll be 60 years old. Will I think the world is cold, or will I have a lot of children who can bore me? Soon I'll be 60 years old. Come on, fellas, bring it up. Soon I'll be 60 years old. Will I think the world is cold, or will I have a lot of children who can bore me? Soon I'll be 60 years old. Once I was 7 years old, my mama told me, go make yourself some friends or you'll be lonely. Once I was 7 years old. Once I was 7 years old.